Now we are going to continue with module 6. The final set of clustering algorithms that we have to learn are arbitrary shaped clustering algorithms. Now density based methods, there are two methods which we are going to learn. One is not an algorithm as such, but it is a method that is used for the initial clustering. One is dbScan and the other is optics. Both of these algorithms, we are not going to have numerical examples, but I will give you the algorithms that are being used and how exactly the clustering method is being done. So we have density based methods. From the name itself you know that the clustering is not done based on distance. Instead, if we have many points in a particular area, then it is called a dense area. And depending on the density, high density areas will be clusters and low density areas will be counted as outliers or noise. Okay, and this method is normally used for finding arbitrary shaped clusters. Density of an object O is based on the number of objects closest to O. And dbScan, full form is density based spatial clustering applications with noise. So if you have got applications with noise, then clustering based on density, spatial clustering based on density is done using dbScan. What we do over here is we find core objects. That means core objects are those points which have got the minimum density required for an area being dense. So we find the four core objects and then the neighborhood of that particular core object is called a dense neighborhood. It connects core objects and their neighborhoods to form dense regions as clusters. So from one core object to another core object we keep connecting till we have connected all the dense areas. Then we have got clustering, arbitrary shaped clustering for dense areas. Okay, now the parameters, this is important. Two parameters are required for dbScan. One is epsilon neighborhood. Now what is epsilon? Epsilon is simply like, if we say in our terms, it's the radius of the neighborhood that is considered. The maximum radius that can be considered is epsilon for a particular point to be considered a core object. That means if I am saying that the minimum number of points for a core object is 3, then, and I have epsilon is equal to 1 centimeter, then what I will do is I will take a point O and if I have got a point over here and these are the points around my point. So this is the point O. I have 1 centimeter. I will, with this as center, I will draw a 1 centimeter circle around O. Okay, so this is my epsilon. Radius is epsilon. And I will count. I've got that minimum points is equal to 3. So I have, including this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points are there inside this. So this will be a core point because I've got more than the minimum number of points in the epsilon neighborhood. So this is how we have epsilon. This radius, this area is the epsilon neighborhood. And O is a core point if the number of objects in the epsilon neighborhood is greater than or equal to the number of min points. So in this particular case, O is a core object because in its neighborhood there are 5 elements which is greater than 3. This is what we have. These are the two parameters. One is the epsilon neighborhood and the other is the min points to determine whether a particular point is a core object. So clustering is done based on core objects and their neighborhoods. Now how exactly we are going to do, we will look at the algorithm later. Before I do that, I need you to know two more concepts. One is what is density reachability and what is density connectivity. Now look at this example. These are all the points in our data set. Just imagine that these are all the points in our data set. Okay, and I have taken P as a point, as an object, and we have drawn an epsilon neighborhood for this. Now if you can see over here, it is given that min points is 3. So if I look at P, the point P, how many points are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 points are there in its epsilon neighborhood. So P is a core point. Now look at M. This circle is its epsilon neighborhood. If you look, there are 5 points in M's epsilon neighborhood. Again, that is also a core point. But look at Q. This is the epsilon neighborhood. There are only 2 points in Q's epsilon neighborhood. So Q is not a core point. Similarly, for O, there are 4 points in its epsilon neighborhood. So it is a core point. If you take S, there are only 2 points, so it is not a core point. If you take R, there are 3 points in its epsilon neighborhood, so it is a core point. So if you look at this point and the named points only, the labeled points only, you can see that P, M, O and R are the core objects. Now, please pay attention to what is density reachability and what is density connectivity. Now listen over here. If I look at the point P, I can reach Q from P through other core points. Q is not a core point, but P is a core point. I can reach M, which is another core point from P. And from M, I can reach Q. So Q is density reachable from P. Is it vice versa? Can I reach P from Q? I cannot, because Q is not a core point. So remember that density reachability is only possible from a core point to some other point. It is not possible to have density reachability from a noise or from a non-core point. So Q is density reachable from P, but P is not density reachable from Q because Q is not a core point. Do you understand? Density reachability. A point is density reachable from another point if that point has got a path from itself to the point which needs to be reachable through other core points. You can only reach a point from a core point, not from any other points. Okay, that is density reachability. Now, what is density connectivity or connectivity? Look over here. O is a core point. S is not a core point. O is a core point. This is also a core point. Whatever it is, we don't have a label, but there are 5 points. So it is a core point. If you look at this also has got 5 points. So this is also a core point, and R is also a core point. So R is reachable from O and S is reachable from O. Both these points are reachable from O. Okay, but R is a core point and S is not a core point. So we can say that S and R are connected through O. So we can say that O, R, S are density connected. There are ways in which we can reach O, R and S. All these 3 points can be connected together through some path, and that particular path over here is O. From O I can reach R and from O I can reach S. So these 3 are connected points. But I cannot directly reach from R to S. I have to go through O. That's the only way to reach S. So remember, this is a core point. So it is vice versa also. O is also reachable from R. So I can come this way and then reach S. Okay. So if points are density connected, then there must be some common point via which all the points can be reachable. This is density connectivity. Hope you have understood the difference between reachability and connectivity. Now we are going to look at the actual algorithm. Okay. Before we look at this, let's just look at a simple example. Okay, let's say that I have got some points and this is what I need to cluster. The first thing that we are going to do is, first step of DB scan is that all these points are marked as unvisited. That means none of them have been clustered so far. None of them have been clustered so far. Okay. Now select a point randomly. Okay. So randomly I'm going to select one point randomly. Let me select this point as my first point. Okay. And then this point will be marked as visited. This point will be marked as visited. Okay. Now the next step is we are going to find out whether this point, the selected point, is a core point or not. Let's assume that we have got 3 points, epsilon radius, and 3 points as our min point. So in this case we have 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point here. So this is a core object. Okay. So I have a cluster C beginning with this point, say that is XV, okay, this point, and all the points within its epsilon neighborhood is also added to this set. So say that I have A and I have B, this is also added to this, this, we are creating a cluster, and all of these values are put into another set N. N is equal to A comma B. Okay. And then again we have to take each point inside this N. Take each point inside this N and check whether these points are not already in any other, that they are not already visited. If you have these points already visited, it cannot be added to C. If they are not visited, they can be added to C. And then find the epsilon neighborhood of A, find the epsilon neighborhood of B, and add them also to N. Till all the elements are added in N, there is nothing more that can be added to N. Okay. And then find all the points which are not visited inside N and add it to the cluster. Fine. Till N becomes empty, we will continue these two steps. We will continue these two steps till N becomes empty. Once that is done, then if the whole set is still, there are still points which have not been visited, then we will take another random unvisited point and repeat these steps till all the points have been clustered. Did you get that? Now let's look at the algorithm. We have first mark all the objects in the given data set as unvisited. Then randomly select an unvisited object P. Mark P as visited and check whether the epsilon neighborhood of P contains at least min points. So we are checking whether P is a core object. If P is not a core object, then mark it as noise and again select another random value. Okay. Otherwise, supposing it has got the minimum number of points, then create a new cluster for P. All the objects in the epsilon neighborhood of P is added to a candidate set N. Don't add it to C right now. All the neighbors of P are added to another set N. After that, iteratively add to C those objects in N that do not belong to any other cluster. So we check all the objects in N. If all of them are marked as unvisited, then add it one by one to C. If it is already visited and it belongs to some other cluster, then don't add it to C. Just continue doing that till each element inside N, its epsilon neighborhood is also kept added to N. Okay, till there is nothing more left in N, you will keep doing this and you have the cluster C. Okay, now we are not done over here. We did only for one core point P. Maybe there are other points in D which are still unvisited. So once N is empty, then again we go back over here. We take another point which is unvisited and do the same process. To find the next cluster, DB scan randomly selects an unvisited object from the remaining ones. The clustering process continues till all the objects are visited, till there is nothing in D which is unvisited. We continue doing this. Each time we will have a cluster C, or we will have a noise. This is how DB scan is done. Now the next algorithm is optics. It's not an algorithm as such. It just gives you an order in which clustering can be done and some of the characteristics of the cluster. Okay. Now the full form of optics is ordering points to identify the clustering structure. So this is actually only identifying the clustering structure. It's not actually doing clustering, but will help us to find out what is epsilon and what is the characteristics of a particular cluster and things like that. Okay. Now the major reason is that we have the problem of determining the parameters in the case of DB scan. And if we don't select the value of epsilon and min points correctly, it is possible that our clustering will also not be correct, especially when we have high dimensional data sets. So this particular method helps us to fix the value of epsilon and min points correctly. This is what this actually does, helps us to fix the parameters. Most real world data sets may have skewed distributions and their clustering structure may not be well defined. A single set of global density parameters may not be sufficient. So for doing the clustering, if we have skewed distributions, we might use different epsilon values and different min point values for different clusters. So this is one method that will help us to do that. Okay. Now we're coming to the actual optics method. Optics overcomes the difficulty in using one set of global parameters in clustering analysis. I'll show you how that is done. This is important. Optics does not explicitly cluster data. Instead, it outputs an ordering, cluster ordering. This linear list represents the clustering structure of the data set. So, bigger clusters to smaller clusters or smaller clusters to bigger clusters, that ordering is given over here. Okay, the cluster ordering can be used to extract basic information like cluster centers, arbitrary shapes, intrinsic cluster structure, and visualization is possible. This is the advantage of using optics. Now just let's look at two parameters that would be required. Okay, to get the different clusters later on when we want to use clustering algorithms, we will need objects have to be processed from increasing order of epsilon value. Okay, in the increase. So the smallest, tightest clusters, higher density clusters will be processed first. So if we have smaller epsilon values, that should be processed first because that is the highest density. To larger density clusters. That is how the ordering will be used. Now, what is core distance and what is reachability distance? This is important for optics. Core distance is the minimum distance that would make an object a core point. Okay, so any point that we take, we will draw, if 5 is our min point, then we will draw a circle with the furthest fifth point. So if you look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the fifth point which is the closest to P. So that is our radius. This is our core distance for P. So the core distance of P is 3 millimeter. Okay, because 5 was given as the min point. That is why this is the core distance, because minimum 5 points if I want, then that is, it has to be 3 millimeter. Okay, now reachability distance. Reachability distance is simply if you take any point from the core distance. Okay, if that point lies inside the core distance of P, then the reachability distance is the core distance of P itself. So in this particular case, Q1 lies inside the core distance of P. So the reachability is this 3 millimeter. Okay, but if you look at Q2, it lies outside the core distance of P. So we have to find the maximum of the distance between P and Q and the core distance. Whichever is maximum, that is the reachability distance. So in this case, if this distance and this distance is considered, then the maximum distance is the core distance. So the reachability distance of P comma Q1 is 3 millimeter. But if you look at the core distance and the distance between P and Q2, the maximum distance is P of distance of P and Q2. So reachability distance between P and Q2 is distance of P comma Q2. Okay, now using this reachability distance, we can create arbitrary shapes. That's the only reason why we need reachability distance over here. Now, let's look at the way optics works. This is our original cluster of points. So just with our eye itself, we can see that this is the tightest cluster. Okay, the next tightest cluster is this one or this one. One of these are the tightest clusters. Okay, now we have to look at the exact distances, only then we can know what is exactly the tightest distance. So now if we look over here, we can see that after the optics algorithm is run, this is what we get. And look at your PPT over there, you can see that some points are yellow in color. See these points over here, yellow in color, over here yellow in color, and here there are very few yellow in color. Okay, this is all marked inside. Closer points are all marked in red. Here closer points are all marked in blue, and here closer points are all marked in green. Okay, so when we look at the graph, this is what we see, and we can see that, see this distance, closest distance is over here. So this is the densest cluster. So the clustering should start over here, and we can see that there is noise. Look at the number of points with noise. So this is we can consider whatever is the point given over here. Okay, so 0.05 can be considered as our epsilon value. Okay, and everything that comes out of that 0.05 we can consider as noise. Okay, whereas over here we cannot have a single epsilon value, because over here there are smaller values and here there are larger values. So we may have to use different clusters and then join them. Reachability has to be found out and then we have to join them. So you can see over here that this is more sparsely distributed and there are noise points here and there. So we can see that this is another cluster. Then this is another cluster. This cluster is much closely, that is, it has got a higher density than this one. So this would be first clustered, and then this would be clustered, and then this would be clustered. And we know that in each of them we have got noise also. Okay, and these values help us to determine or experiment with what are the different values of epsilon that can be used to get a proper clustering. This is the ordering that is given in optics. Using this ordering and these values, we can decide what our min points should be, what are the different epsilon values that we should use, and what clusters must be clustered first. And with this we finish clustering algorithms. I'll send you the test.